Here we are. Here we are. I don't know whether Facebook's going to be a jerk again today. Who knows? Facebook. Oh, Facebook. Kind of a jerk sometimes. But who knows? Maybe. Although, ooh, I see that somebody's watching on Facebook. So, hey, person. So hopefully we got some stuff going on here this time around. I keep getting off Facebook Lives, and Facebook is like, and nobody's seen it. So like apparently it wasn't live. I don't know, but it still recorded the video. Facebook. Anywho, Instagram on the other hand seems to work beautifully. Hello Instagram friends. There we are. Good Monday morning. Oh, hi Elspeth. Elspeth's on Facebook. Yay. Good Monday morning. Wanted to say happy bank holiday if you are in the UK. Yay. And do you say like happy Memorial Day, American friends? I don't know. It seems weird to be like happy Memorial Day. Like it seems a little weird to be that, but if you are memorializing, if you're remembering, I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'm just going to acknowledge that it is Memorial Day in the States today. And there you go. Memorial Day. Welcome, welcome. Monday morning. So, office hours live office hours with me, Dr. Shannon Coates. I did not get a chance to dry my hair today because I had to have a late shower because one of my children was in the shower. And you know, when teenagers voluntarily go in the shower, that's a good thing. You don't want to like hurry them out of there. Actually, it's like next to impossible to hurry them out of there, right? Because they're like, no, I'm never having a shower. No, don't want me to. And then they get in there and they're like, this is my home now. Like they like never leave. At least mine. My teenagers are like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in that. Who knows? Yes. So my name is Dr. Shannon Coates, and I am a voice educator from north of Toronto in Ontario, Canada. And I develop resources and trainings and mentoring for voice teachers. Is that true? Oh, thank goodness I'm not alone. Thanks, Renee. Yeah, right? I'm not alone. Phew. Like, I'll never have a shower. Never. And you bug them and tell them, and then they get in there and they're like, I'm never leaving. This is my home now. Like, someone send me food because I'm in there. Yep. So, anywho, today, something big I wanted to talk about today. Okay, here we go. I wanted to talk about working in the studio, in the voice studio, in a non-white savior way. So I wanted to talk a little bit about white saviorism and how that comes into our pedagogy as voice teachers, because obviously that's my area, voice teachers, and voice pedagogy. And so this is, hi Brienne. So this is something, this is a tough, deep conversation, and mostly for my white friends. So white friends, white voice teachers, this is something that we need to work out. So the reason this is, I've been off and on crying all weekend, and which is nothing compared to trauma and other things going on with the people who are directly affected by this. But we in Canada, we just found 2 or 3 days ago, and if you are in the news, you likely have seen this, especially Canadians. I hope you've seen this. A mass grave of 215 children, some as young as 3, it's really heavy. Yeah, hi Sarah, thank you. At a location of a former residential school here in Canada. And residential schools, if you don't know, they were called Indian residential schools. They started in the late 1800s. I'm just looking to make sure I've got the dates here. Yeah, schools opened and operated in Canada between the 1870s and the 1990s. So the last Indian residential school closed in Canada in 1979, I believe, which I was alive in 1979, friends. This is not like our history. This is current. And Indian residential schools were created with the government, the Canadian government created in partnership, collusion with churches. 1996. Oh my gosh. 1996 in Nova Scotia. Okay, that's even later. Oh yes, no, sorry, yeah, not 79. 1996. Sorry, yes. Sorry, 79 was another date I was thinking of. Yeah, the last residential school closed in 1996. So 1996, that is current, right? This isn't just like a bad phase in our history. That's current. So residential schools, Indian residential schools, were places that were created by the Canadian government with the churches of the time, of our current time, mostly Anglican and Catholic churches, predominantly Catholic, but also Anglican. Oh yeah, 1996, yeah. Predominantly Catholic, but Anglican, Methodist, Presbyterian, all of the major denominations were involved in creating these schools. And the main purpose of the schools, and the law stated that children, 4 years old, school-age children, 4 years old and above, had to go and live at the schools. They were residential schools, which resulted in the RCMP churches, the RCMP church members, church officials, so the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, police forces, going to Native communities and forcibly, in many cases, removing children from their families and bringing them to these schools to be educated. And when they came to the schools, their hair was shaved, their clothes were burned, they were given English names, they were punished for not speaking English, they were punished if they spoke their native languages. There was rampant abuse, sexual, physical, emotional, just rampant abuse, corporal punishment. The Canadian government did experiments on them, nutritional experiments, for example. Let's see what happens in this school if we give them these vitamins, and in this school if we give them these kinds of foods. And let's compare and contrast. They weren't, in many cases, they were so far away from their home communities that they had no ability to return home. There was no communication with their parents, with their communities. And all of this was done. I mean, you will hear every once in a while, and in some corners, you will hear people say, but they had the best of intentions. They wanted to educate Native people, and they wanted Native people to be able to read and write, and they wanted Native people in English, and they wanted Native people to fit into Canadian society and to be able to be successful in Canadian society. So they had the best of intentions. That is white saviorism, where I have the best of intentions towards someone else, especially someone who is not white, and I think that my position as a Christian, as a white person, as an English-speaking person, as a Canadian, gives me the right to impose my best of intentions on you and to know what is best for you. It's racism. It's toxic. Friends, my people's best intentions resulted in 150 years of essentially genocide. We destroyed, decimated 4 generations of Native people through our best intentions. Decimated, destroyed entire populations. The repercussions of this system, of our best of intentions, are ongoing and very real. Very real. And I want to speak to how our best of intentions, our white saviorism, comes into the voice studio as well, and comes into the way that we work in the voice studio. We will have the best of intentions in terms of making sure that in terms of trying to make sure that folks are able to participate in being in the studio and doing things in the studio and having voice lessons. We will have the best of intentions around that. And I want to today encourage us to consider where our best intentions are coming from. What's the root of our best intentions? And I'm not saying that this is about you calling yourself a terrible person or you, I'm saying let's be honest about what the impact of best intentions can be. Let's be honest about that, and let's see what are some of the ways that we can, in our voice studios, that our best intentions can have the impact that we're hoping for. Let's consider where they come from. Okay, so a couple of things to think about along this line. Something that comes up often and that I have talked about before is around choosing repertoire for our students. We have a lot of best of intentions. Of course we do. Best intentions around choosing repertoire and choosing the songs that our students are going to sing. Of course we do. Consider where that comes from. Just consider. Do you always reach for something that was written by and something that speaks to experiences of a German school person? Do you always reach for that song? Or are there other songs that you can invest in and that you can engage with and that your students can engage with? Do you always have do you when you're thinking about, sorry, I'm thinking about it, my brain squirreled a little bit there. When you're thinking about contemporary repertoire, popular musics, what are you considering for your students to sing? Have you done some work to understand what the background is of popular musics? Have you done some work around that? Have you asked some questions around that? if you have one practical way to invite and honor other cultures, the cultures in your studio, and to not impose certain kinds of musics on your students, is to ask for music that they hear in their homes. Ask for them to find music from their heritage. Ask for them to or to do some research projects with your students around the music of their heritage and of their background, and to honor that music, and to honor that, and to work on that music with the same level, invite and honor, to work on that music with the same level of respect and precision, if you will, like that same level of excellence that you would work on a German art song, for example, or that you have been trained perhaps to work on a French mélodie. So using the same kind of honor, the same kind of respect for that music that you would use for the music that we learned in our Western classical degrees. Another consideration is the way that we work with scholarships, for example, in our studios. And I want to just be really clear, I love scholarships. I don't have a problem with scholarships at all. And in fact, I was just at a fabulous concert that Brianne Rourke did for a scholarship fund that she has in honor of her father for her studio, and I think she's just done a terrific job setting that up, and the concert was fabulous, and all of those things. So don't get me wrong about scholarships here, but having said that, I want to make sure that when we're setting up scholarships and when we are thinking about scholarships, what is the reason? Why do we want to have scholarships in our studio? And Brianne said as well in her concert that she set up like a scholarship committee, right, to look at because she said the solution, because otherwise I would want to give a scholarship to all of my students because she loves her students, and she wants her students to thrive and be successful, and she wants to give them the tools they need to be successful. So and I think that's at the heart of all of us when we're when we're thinking about something like a scholarship, for example. Consider, if you're setting up a scholarship on a financial need basis, so if it's a financial need based scholarship, consider what the barriers are for people applying for a financial need based scholarship. Just consider. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying consider, and consider the impact of having to apply for a financial needs-based scholarship. Just consider. And consider the impact of you being the person who is going to give this scholarship. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying consider. A merit-based scholarship, same thing. Consider the impact of a merit-based scholarship where someone has to maybe write an essay, or they have to write, or they have to, I don't know, make a video, or they have to, I don't know, come to every single lesson in the year, or like if it's attendance-based, whatever. Consider what the merit is, consider the impact, and consider who are the people who are actually going to be able to do those things, right? It's very easy for us, for me as a in the position that I am in, and having grown up the way that I grew up with parents who were very supportive, and and myself having so many advantages, it was easy for me to show up for every single lesson. That was easy for me. it's not easy for my kid to show up for every single lesson, not because she doesn't have supportive parents and not because she doesn't have, but because some days are really bad days for her. Consider how challenging it is for folks to write an essay. For some folks to write an essay, for example. Consider, who am I actually benefiting? Who's actually going to benefit from a merit-based scholarship? Is it the people who actually have all the things they need to fulfill that merit, to do the things that are required for the merit-based scholarship? It might be. And that might not be what you want, right? And that may not be your intention. I think it likely is not your intention, but again, consider. Something to consider if you're thinking about scholarships as well is to consider doing maybe a work study. And I don't remember where I heard this idea to begin with. I don't remember. It was someone within the Speakeasy Cooperative. So if that is you, please let me know. I want to make sure that I just let you know this was not my idea. But something like a work study program can give the opportunity for folks to not have to say, I can't, I'm making some choices here and I can do a work study program in order to afford the lessons, but also consider what it takes to be part of a work study program. How can you set up a work study program that is going to have the impact that you want and that is not going to suffer from your intention to set up something for someone who maybe who's going to be impacted and in what way? Consider. The other thing to consider is perhaps having pay what you can lessons. There's that as well. Consider that. I mean, our intention here is to offer underprivileged folks. Also consider who you think is underprivileged. Friends, we make assumptions around who is underprivileged, what we consider to be underprivileged and what we consider to be privileged. We make assumptions about other people and other people's kids and other people's situations all the time. So just, bear in mind that we make assumptions about this, and our intention is to serve perhaps underprivileged, or our intention is to perhaps serve, and I don't even know if underprivileged is the right word to use here, actually. I apologize if it's not. Our intention is to serve the folks who maybe aren't able to financially or socioeconomically able to take voice lessons. Consider, though, who we consider those people. Who do we think of those people? Anyway, something to consider in terms of fee structures is an anonymous pay what you can, or an anonymous, so no one knows who's paying what, and self-selecting. So you have a self-selecting, you can pay what you can. So that is a possibility. It doesn't have to be with every single student, but that is a possibility as well, and you can offer it. Are people going to take advantage of you if you consider the impact? It's possible. It's possible. If you institute some kind of pay what you can program, it's possible. On the other hand, I bet that more people will pay more than you would imagine in that kind of program. And that you will find yourself in a position where you're actually, yes, exactly. Emily, just saying this on Instagram, so I'll say it out loud because the comments go away on Instagram. There may be a difference between underprivileged, marginalized, and racialized folks. Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. someone who is perhaps marginalized is not necessarily underprivileged, and underprivileged doesn't necessarily mean racialized. I mean, there are definitely intersections, definitely. And on the other hand, we need to be careful about the assumptions we're making, for sure. Yeah, and just keep considering. Right, so keep that in the back of your mind, or keep it at the forefront of your mind. Keep it somewhere in your mind. Keep it somewhere at the forefront of the way that you're operating your studio, and considering the ways that the reason that I'm offering this thing, or the reason that I have this, this thing in place, or the reason that I do this specific thing. If the reason that you do it, and I'm talking right now about intentions and white saviorism especially, if the reason that you do it is because you have good intentions to help people, that's terrific. And then consider the impact of your good intentions. Yes. I'm going to, on Instagram, I won't be able to do this necessarily, but on Facebook here, I will put some links in the comments just about, what's happening in the Indian residential school, about the Indian residential school system here in Canada, and ways to support and be involved. I'll put those in the links in Facebook, like I said, and then I also put just a couple of links around. Thank you, Rochelle. Yeah, I'll also put a couple of links around white saviorism and impact versus intention versus impact. Right? Good intentions. Well, what's the old saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Is that the old saying? Or something along those lines, right? Mm-hmm. Good intentions. Where do they come from? Why do we have them? And then what's the impact? What is the impact of those good intentions? Good intentions. In so many cases, good intentions lead to horrible outcomes. Unintended, of course, but horrible nonetheless. And in the case of the Indian residential schools, we're talking 130 years of good intentions. No one seemed to notice, in 130 years, no one seemed to notice that these good intentions were having unbelievably negative impacts. Ooh, wow, that's a good one too. Treat people how they want to be treated, not how you want to be treated. Yeah. Yeah. Which is a slight variation. It's a variation on the do unto others as you would have done to yourself. What is it? Do unto others as you would have, how come I can't remember that saying? That's a variation on it. I mean, it's those pithy little statements, right? Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself, or whatever. Those pithy little statements do not capture, I mean, they basically say, like, don't be selfish, but like, they don't capture the complexity of a situation, right? They don't capture that, and they don't capture the complexity of culture, and they don't capture the complexity and the very muddying impact of religion and politics and all of those other things. It can be very muddying, really muddy the waters. They can be. That's enough deepness for today. Deep. That's enough for today, I think. I'll talk to you on Friday.